Greetings fellow game enthusiasts, AJ here with another review, and today we're going to be looking at Legend of K for the PS2. As usual, let's dive straight in. So we have a nice little title screen here with the lovely theme music. Press start and we get a comic strip explaining the backstory. Basically, you have a peaceful land inhabited by 4 creatures: rabbits, frogs, cats and pandas. Only the Avatar, master of all wrong thing. Suddenly, gorillas and rats start upsetting the peace. All of this is being narrated by Su Ling, who is trying to convince Kay. Oh. Well, that's not good. Yeah, so as I was saying, Pokemon Colosseum for the Nintendo GameCube is a darker take on the Pokemon games, set in the barren Ori region where there isn't a wild Pokemon to be seen. You also can't free roam like you can in the previous games because most of the region is desert. Instead, you have to fast travel using your sweet-ass bike, which looks like it was built by Pablo Picasso. The game begins with the most awesome cutscene of any past, present or future Pokemon game, in which you and your Pokemon break into Team Snag'em's base and steal their Snag Machine, a device that can steal trainers' Pokemon because, for some reason, you need a machine to do that. You come across some goons carrying a suspicious-looking sack and basically have no choice but to battle them, inadvertently saving the girl trapped inside, who then forces you into becoming her partner. Seriously, this girl will not take no for an answer. You'll soon appreciate having her around though, because every other character in this game is fucking useless. Team Snag'em's goons show up, and after inevitably challenging you to a battle they have no hope in hell of winning, they reveal to both the player and the new female companion that our hero is none other than Team Snag'em's finest thug, the best in the world at stealing Pokemon. This doesn't seem to bother her at all. Suddenly, weirdly dressed men. Suddenly, more weirdly dressed men. Turns out the guys who captured your lady friend were working for a huge criminal organisation which you will inevitably single-handedly bring to its knees because this is a Pokemon game. This organisation have somehow sealed the doors to the hearts of Pokemon, turning them into shadow Pokemon, vicious fighting machines that attack people. Our female friend can actually sense dark auras coming off of these Pokemon and can therefore tell the difference between a regular Pokemon and a shadow Pokemon. She asks that you save these poor creatures by stealing them from their trainers. I never get bored of this cinematic. Yoink! So that's the story in a nutshell. Ori is pre-Sinnoh and post-Hoenn, so you get to see some of your favourite Pokemon from Kanto, Johto and Hoenn. Here's the snag, no pun intended. You can't catch wild Pokemon, and Pokeballs can only be bought from this one shady-looking guy, and their existence is some sort of badly kept secret. Hey dude, can you hook me up? Oh yes, that's the good stuff. On the plus side, if you don't like random encounters, guess what? There aren't any. Most of the handheld title's replay value comes from the fact that Pokemon offers a different experience every time. There are hundreds of wild Pokemon to catch in order to build up your unstoppable team of 6, meaning that no 2 playthroughs are the same unless you intentionally make it that way. In Colosseum there are a total of 48 shadow Pokemon that you can steal, and you can only snag them when you meet the appropriate thug. These are the same in every playthrough, which means you don't get the same replay value that you do from the handheld titles. So, if you can only catch 48 specific Pokemon, how do you catch them all? By trading, if you have the handheld titles on Game Boy Advance plus the appropriate cable. Actually, I have a better question. If Pokeballs are basically heroin, and most of the region is desert, how the hell do any of these trainers even have Pokemon to begin with? Ow. If you've ever played a handheld title, you'll know that the story progresses by having certain events take place when you get to certain points. What you do in between is pretty much up to you, and the same holds here, but Colosseum lacks the 2 main things that you're supposed to do in that time: battling and catching wild Pokemon, and exploration. Let's talk about exploration for a second. You have to fast travel between towns, and when you do get to them, they're not all that big. They do cram as much as they possibly can into what they have, and the maps certainly aren't dull in any way. There's just not quite enough of them. So the exploration factor is cut, limiting you to towns, caves, secret labs, etc, etc. There's no Pokemon League either, which means no gyms. There is a pre-gym in Phoenix City, but it's not all that interesting. You fight a bunch of trainers in a row, followed by their leader. Yeah, gyms aren't the major focus here. Instead, each major town has a Colosseum, hence the name of the game. Whether or not you compete is completely up to you. Completing the story doesn't require you to enter a single knockout challenge except the one where the criminal syndicate leader is the final battle. There's also Mount Battle, where you can fight trainer after trainer to your heart's content, so don't think there's a shortage of battles in this game. Aside from the Colosseums and Mount Battle, there's the typical lines of trainers blocking your objective, waiting for you to cross their field of vision so they can battle you. And there are a lot of them. So, what about Shadow Pokemon? Shadow Pokemon are talked about by the local criminals as if they're a big deal, but they're really not. The only difference is that they have a move called Shadow Rush that does the same amount of damage regardless of the type, and they can go into a state called Hyper Mode, which increases their critical hit ratio, but also makes them liable to disobey you and attack other trainers. Serves them right for their animal cruelty. You can purify them by battling with them to make them like you, and then completing the process using the power of the Celebi. The legendary dogs are also in this game, by the way, and each one is a Shadow Pokemon, making them fair game. I mentioned that Colosseum lacks the things that make the handheld title so replayable, but I'm willing to forgive it for two reasons. 1. Your starter Pokemon are Umbreon and Espeon. 2. One of the Shadow Pokemon you can catch early in the game is my favourite Pokemon in the world, Misdreavus. I love her to pieces, even if she is badly behaved. No, don't attack me, you crazy bitch! Umbreon is on your team! You fucking... oh, don't be like that. You can't run away from a fight, but you can shout at your Pokemon, which serves two purposes. 1. To snap it out of Hyper Mode, which also speeds up the purification process. And 2. As an excuse never to have to buy an Awakening. Oi! Get up, you lazy shit! So I bitched about the game's flaws, so what's good about it? The game's main selling point is its aesthetic. It looks amazing, and for a region that's mostly desert, it's got some breathtaking environments. Phoenix City is a beautiful oasis in the middle of the desert, the Under is lovely and quirky, and Agate Village has lush greenery, flowing rivers, a man who shares his berries with you, NPCs getting stuck on ledges, and that daycare lady who holds your Pokemon for ransom. You are an evil, evil woman. The game's soundtrack sounds like it's had a considerable amount of effort put into it. From the title screen to the city themes to the fanfares at the Colosseums, there's drums and horns galore, and it's all very grand. I can't think of a single piece of music from this game I would consider to be forgettable, probably because I would have forgotten about it by now. I also quite like the character designs, especially the protagonist. He is missing something though, I just can't put my finger on it. Ah well. Let's summarise. The story is fairly refreshing for a Pokemon game, but it's also heavily relied upon because of the lack of much else to do except battle. If you like the stories of previous Pokemon games, you'll probably like this one, and that's all there is to be said, really. For overall enjoyability, I give this game a 70. Out of all the Pokemon games I played, Colosseum is definitely the most exciting. Oh, but I wish they'd have made the fucking name thingy longer. I swear, every name I wanted to give my companion got cut short by like one letter. God damn it! Would I play this game again? Definitely. In fact, I'm really surprised Nintendo didn't decide to make more games like this one for consoles. They did make a sequel called Gale of Darkness, but I can't find it anywhere. That's a shame. Normally when Nintendo has a good idea, they don't stop until it's been done to death, so why not make a couple more games like Colosseum or Gale of Darkness? Maybe they will at some point, I don't know. We can live in hope. Legend of K next time, I promise. So I did this review with my lunch in the oven, and now it's burnt. Crunchy.